Hello and welcome to highlights of the 750 Motor Club's Summer Festival at Silverstone. With MotoGP setting up in the national paddock ready for next weekend's British Grand Prix, the club have the honour of running on the international circuit out of the Silverstone wing and its voluminous pit garages for the very first time. And this weekend is not just about racing. There's a chance for owners of Austin 7s, the cars popular when the club was founded back in 1939, to display their cars and take part in a parade. Giving new meaning to the word eclectic, the first race of the day is for the all-comers. And on pole position we have Lee Bailey in his Radical SR3, next to the Rage Buggy of RGB Championship leader Matthew Higginson. On the second row, the Westfield of Trevor Clark and Ian Smythe's Ford Fiesta Cosworth, Matthew Wallace in the MR2 and Peter Coombs in his eponymous sports car on the third row of the grid. It was a wet qualifying session for these cars, but it's dried out now, so expect a bit of a shake-up. It's a poor start there from the pole position man Lee Bailey, and a bit of a contact further back among the MR2s as well. Paul Thorpe has got away very well indeed in his Ford Fiesta XR2i, one of half a dozen regulars from the Classic Stock Cats Championship that are racing here this weekend. Down towards Village they go for the first time then. The lead was being held by that Rage Buggy of Matthew Higginson, but through on the inside there has gone Lee Bailey, and also I think Trevor Clark in his Westfield as well. We had 38 cars out on the grid for qualifying. There's 36 that have taken the start of this race, including their number 67, David Drinkwater in his BMW Compact. Oh, and there's damage further back. There's been a collision between Ryan Lowry in his Fiesta and also the Civic, which is number 8, Carey Lewis in the Honda Civic DC5. Up towards Stoke Corner for the first time then, it's Bailey leading. Higginson has got back into second. In third place is Clark, and in fourth is Ian Smythe in that very special Cosworth engine Ford Fiesta. Through Stowe they go then. Here's a battle further back down the order. You've got Elliot Dunmore in his BMW 325. You've got Matthew Wallace in the number 72 Toyota MR2s. The wipers on these cars are on again, so there is a bit of rain falling once more. Also number 50, Andrew Seaton. He is in the Mazda RX-7 being run by Tim Gray Motorsport this weekend. I believe it's one of Andrew's first ever circuit races. He's having a look as they come down the hanger straight. He's going to have the inside line for Stowe Corner, and he goes through ahead of Elliot Dunmore now, and Doug Elwood, the former 750 Motor Club Road Sports racer, he's there in his Marcos Mantis. He goes through as well, but the BMW trying to come back on the inside. That's the 69 car of Dunmore, the man from Tame, and he's got back through, I think, on the inside there. Well, this is the battle for around about 6th position then, making their way down towards us. So Elwood, having briefly made up a place, has lost back out to Dunmore. You've got Matthew Wallace, he's in the first of the Toyota MR2s that have their own championship races a little bit later on in the day in the number 79 car. Turning their way out of Club Corner now, over the start and finish line to start another lap. But Lee Bailey, car number 30, leading the way here in the Radical SR3. The driver from Hove will hand that car over to son Aaron Bailey for the bike sports races later on. And the cars turning their way through the Vale then. There's Lowry, who was involved in that incident earlier on, and Ben Ward as well, car number 34, the Ford Fiesta XR2. He's just ahead of the 152 car of Tim Gibson. That's the BMW Compact, and they're side by side now as they go down the straight. Well, Paul Thorpe is well and truly in the thick of the action here, and that's the class leader just ahead of him there as well. It's the car normally driven by Michael Williamson, that Ford Fiesta XR2, but it's the very quick Matt Rosier that's out in its day. Paul Thorpe now going to the outside line as they head down to the right-hander at Abbey. This is the first corner of the new lap, but Rosier is managing to stay ahead there. Also involved too is the number 46 car, which is John Peerless in his Peugeot 205. There's an MR2 not far up the road either. And here comes Paul Thorpe down the inside as they go under braking for the Village hairpin. And Paul Thorpe goes through to take the lead of Class C and also the Classic Stock Hatch class as well. Through the link they'll go and onto the hanger straight once more. It looks like Rosier in the 118 car has made it back through again down there. A spin for Doug Elwood. The Marcos Mantis goes round, number 14, the man from Stratford-on-Avon, that big 6.2 litre engine car is stationary at the moment. Is he going to be able to rejoin? Yes, he is. Doug Elwood regularly campaigning that car in a number of different championships these days, noticeably the Euro Saloon sports cars. Well, here comes this Rage Buggy, and it's absolutely fantastic. Look at the way it spits flames there as it makes its way through the corner. It's actually Matt Higginson's dad's track toy, if you like. As number 81, Neil Roach, goes off the road, and it was a spin there for Peter Coombs in number 18, who'd had a good progress there and was up inside the top 3, but he's lost ground again now. He might just about be able to hold on to his 3rd position, but he's lost quite a bit of time there. Well, here comes Lee Bailey then. He's just about to lap the number 65 car, I think that is, of Simon Roach. He goes on to his final lap of this 1.85 mile Silverstone International Circuit. It uses the southern half of the Grand Prix loop. There's Susanna Kenniston on the right hand side of the picture there in the VW Corrado that's further back down the order. Also, you're getting involved, you have 73, which is Simon Wallace, and Tim Herron actually has gone very well in his number 23 car. Down the straight they come. This is towards the left-hander at the Vale. But Tim Herron was on the 19th row of the grid in that number 23 blue Toyota MR2. He's fighting his way now up towards the top 10. He's not quite there yet. There's a moment for number 24. That's Phil Hutchins from York in his MR2. Another driver that should be out again later on today. But here comes Lee Bailey, number 30. He's dominated this race. He's more than 20 seconds clear of the rest of the field. Turning his way out of Stowe Corner now, down towards the Vale. Not too far away from lapping the 20th place man for a second time. That's Mark Warren Leighton in his blue and yellow Toyota MR2. He's done so now as they make their way through Club Corner for the final time. Then in the case of the race leader, it's going to be Lee Bailey. The checkered flag is made ready. It goes out now, and Lee Bailey it is that wins this second 750 Motor Club All-Comers race of the season. Coming across the line there, you've got the Fletcher Hornet of Ian Fletcher. He has gone, though, 2 laps down, surprisingly. He's in 21st position overall. Well, here's Higginson then. First time out in this car. I think it's just about the only place you could race this machine. Absolutely fantastic. Its lap times equal to those of Lee Bailey's as the race has gone on. He takes 2nd position. Good effort from him. And the 3rd place car that we're waiting to see coming through now, that's going to be Peter Coombs. He had that spin a little bit further on, but here he is in the Coombs Sports, and he comes through in 3rd position. More cars going through that have been lapped as well. Got the car of Trevor Clark there in 4th position, but there's contact further back, and that was, I think, Simon Wallace, was it, going off into the gravel as Tim Herron came through to grab 10th position overall. And look at the joy in the cockpit of that Ford Fiesta XR2i. Well, that was Paul Thorpe. He won the class and 13th position overall, but it was Lee Bailey that took the win by 23 seconds from Matthew Higginson. Peter Coombs 3rd. Best of the Class B cars in 5th was Ian Smythe in his Ford Fiesta Cosworth.
Lee Bailey, winner of the All-Comers race there. You had many people to play with and a lot of traffic, but you made it all work.
Yeah, it all went very well. The car was superb. The setup was good. Probably could have done with slicks on, but the wet held up well long enough and enabled me to sort of be where I wanted to be on the track.
At the start there, did you see Matthew close enough to you? Did you think he was going to be a threat?
I was concerned, especially where the track was drying. Obviously, the Radical's superb in the wet, and I wasn't too sure how their 2 cars and the Caterham, which is what I think was behind us, didn't know how they were going to react with the slightly drier track. But luckily, the downforce on the Radical saw me past them fairly early on a couple of bends.
Well, good stuff, and well done on the victory.
Great, thank you very much indeed.
Paul Thorpe out there today in the classic stock hatch. You won that part of the race. Good stuff.
Oh, it's fantastic. Our championship's got a couple of months break, and I was wondering what to do in what's meant to be nice weather, but as you can see, it's not very nice today. And I thought, yeah, well, I've got no pressure of the championship to come here and race and just have a bit of fun. And it was just some fantastic racing, very close racing out there, and it was good to see how you perform against the other ones, the MR2s and the BMW Compact Cup as well. It was really good fun indeed, yes.
There's lots more racing to come at Silverstone, so join us right after this break. Time now for round 10 of the Demon Tweaks Yokohama Stock Cats Championship combined with the Clio 182 series. Those cars start at the back of the grid with a 10-second delay. They are expected to come through the field, but it's really the Saxos and the 106s in the Stock Cats Championship that we are interested in. On pole position, it's the blue car of Tom Bell, who had his 5th win of the season yesterday. Next to him is the orange machine of Nathan Saunders. So red lights are on, and out they go. And it's a pretty even start between the two front row men. Saunders in the orange car that finished down in 8th in yesterday's race, although he was contending for a podium position until mid-race. He's got quite a decent start there as you watch the Clios start their race, heading down towards Abbey for the first time. There's half a dozen of them. His car's quicker in a straight line, but not quite as quick around the corners. It's Saunders then that was leading as they headed down towards Village Hairpin for the first time, but Tom Bell, I think, has got through on the inside to retake the lead. It looks like Lee Deegan was there in 3rd position as well. It's going to be a 13-minute plus 1 lap race for these cars. We should get 11 laps out of it as the first of the Clios come through. That's Martin Ward in the white car, and at the back of the field, the 22 car of Kevin Condon. On board with Lee Deegan then in 3rd position as they make their way down the Hanger Straight and towards Stowe for the first time. It's Tom Bell that leads, then Saunders 2nd, and Lee Deegan is in 3rd position. Didn't have such a good race yesterday, didn't Lee? Down in 9th position he finished after an early tangle. Here though he's just ahead of his brother Shane Deegan, who was on the podium yesterday. Through Stowe Corner and down towards the Vale then, the top 2 cars just beginning to make a little bit of a break ahead of the 2 Deegan brothers, Lee and then Shane. And in 4th position it looks to be the number 12 car of Steve Polsland, who had a podium finish for the first time in many a long year yesterday. 4th overall, but 3rd as far as the stock hatches were concerned. He's out there in car number 12, as I say. Took a break from stock hatch racing, but came back a couple of years ago. The driver from Eastleigh. The leaders head down towards Abbey for the 2nd time then. That's the 63 car you can see of Philip Wright, the yellow machine. He's down there in 8th position at the moment. That's just behind the Gregory car. Lee Deegan trying to find a way through there down at the Village, heading through the left-hander now and on towards the right-hander at the link. It's nose to tail as they turn their way through there. This is where the cars join onto the Hanger Straight, longest straight on the circuit. You can see Trevor Gregory a bit further back in that multicoloured car, running a little bit wide. As Martin Ward in the background, you can see his white Clio is just starting to get really stuck into the stock hatch field now. Challenge then for the lead, and it's really a 4 or even 5 car train for the lead. Well, actually make that 8, because at the rear of that group is Patrick Fletcher. He was a retirement from yesterday's race after a little bit of contact in the early stages. He was having his best race of the season so far though, the 2011 champion. He's going side by side as they turn their way through the corner there with Steve Polsland, who's going backwards a little bit, I'm afraid. Onto the international pit straight they go once more then. And it's Lee Deegan there in the 48 car, but just jinking out a little bit. He's 4th in the championship coming into this weekend. The championship order is Bell, Shane Deegan, Jake Farnton, who's not taking part this weekend, had to withdraw his entry, and Lee Deegan in 4th. But Tom Bell, with a 29-point lead coming into this weekend, looking very good for the championship. Through Village they go, and it's still nose to tail amongst these identical 1.6 litre Citroen Saxos. Here comes Nathan Saunders having a look as they go through the link, but he can't quite make that work. Certainly now it is a 5-car train for lead. Lee Deegan gets some good speed out of that corner onto the Hanger Straight now. I think he's got through up to 2nd position. What's happened to Nathan Saunders? Has he made a mistake? Thumbs up there. Now does that mean that his brother Shane has managed to follow him through as well? We'll see very shortly. It looks like he has. Yes, Shane Deegan through into 3rd position as well. Nathan Saunders down to 4th. It's still Tom Bell that leads. Paul Jarvis there in 5th position. He's having a pretty good season, lying 7th in the championship coming into this weekend. Perhaps hasn't always got the result that his pace deserved, and that includes yesterday's race really. Oh, one contact between Nathan Saunders and Shane Deegan there. Paul Jarvis tries to nip through and capitalise, but there's a little bit of a touch as he tried to find the gap through ahead of Nathan Saunders, and those two were rubbing door handles yesterday as well. We've had the change of lead though. Tom Bell goes down to 2nd. Well, the top two pulling away. We go on board with Lee Deegan in the lead of this race through this very fast left-hander at Farm. Then very shortly onto the brake area for what is pretty much a hairpin at the village. And through on the inside goes Tom Bell. Almost out of nowhere as far as we were concerned. I'm sure that Lee had clocked him in his mirrors. But the championship leader goes through and Lee Deegan goes back down to second position. Lee has won one race this season. His brother Shane has won a couple. But even between them, they've not won as many as Tom Bell, who's back into the lead of this race then. Tremendous racing this from the Demon Twinks Yokohama Stock Cats Championship. But there you can see the first of the Clios is coming through now. And that looks to me like it is the number 15 car, the number 19 car, I beg your pardon, of Mark Armstrong, as the leaders almost swapping positions once more. And certainly Lee Deegan gets a better run through Stowe that time, as into the pit lane comes number 10, Terry Roughton. Veteran is out of the race. But Lee Deegan on the outside line for the Vale, and has to tuck back in behind the number 54 car of Tom Bell. It's still Shane Deegan that's there in third, but out to fourth place overall is that number 19 car of Mark Armstrong, hiring that car out this weekend. Down towards Stowe Corner, and it looks like Armstrong, who's an instructor here at Silverstone, is trying to forge his way through into the outright lead of the race, and I think he's done it. But Tom Bell's not giving up. It doesn't matter this, the Clio is not part of the Stock Cats Championship. They're not racing for points, but Tom Bell is racing for pride. Down towards the Vale they go. It's going to be Bell on the inside line, Armstrong on the outside line. Who's got it? Well, they're still side by side. It's going to be the inside line for Armstrong through the double right-hander at Club Corner. They're slowing each other up a little bit here. Bell holds on though. It's still Armstrong in second place, but shortly down the straight the Clio is going to be quicker. He's going to find a way through. Martin Wald's white car in the background, you can see there, also making some progress, as Shane Deegan now has dropped back behind Nathan Saunders again in all of this. Back down to fourth position amongst the Stock Catch cars, joint fifth overall as he tries to duke it out there with Martin Ward's Clio. Down towards the hairpin they go. Which car's better on the brakes? There's some smoke as well coming from underneath Shane Deegan's car. I wonder if that's a problem that he needs to be wary of. And here are the Stock Cats leaders. They're side by side once more. Lee Deegan is alongside, and they're absolutely together as they make their way down the Hanger Straight. Well, perhaps Lee Deegan here would be better advised to tuck into the toe of Tom Bell and then jink out of it as they head into Stowe Corner, but they are absolutely side by side. Lee Deegan's managed to knock his right hand indicator on somewhere amongst all of this as well. That will just be an accident. I don't think he's actually signalling any form of intent there. Who's through? Well, Deegan runs wide. All four wheels off the circuit there, and I think he's going to tuck back in behind Tom Bell. Yes, he is. It's Mark Armstrong leading overall, but it's Tom Bell that leads the Stock Catches. Lee Deegan second, then it's Martin Ward, and the third of the Stock Catches there is Nathan Saunders. Fourth in the Stock Catch division is the 58 car, isn't it, of Shane Deegan, and then yet another of these Clios coming through. And that's Matt Fincham. On to the final lap we go then. Mark Armstrong stretching his advantage at the front of the field, but still lots to be decided among the Stock Catch divisions, with Matt Fincham, who was the first driver to race one of these Clios, also involved. Philip Wright is still there as well. So Tom Bell getting it very sideways down at Village. Shane Deegan pushing on despite the increasing amount of smoke coming from underneath his Saxo. Both of the Deegans from an autoclass background, as is Tom Bell, of course. And that teaches fantastic car control, and we've seen some of that here at Silverstone today. Mark Armstrong, though, who has raced in a number of things, Formula V, Formula Ford, Stock Catch as well, continues to lead this race. But Matt Fincham it is in the number 7 car that's pulling through now to take the place away from Shane Deegan, who's dropping back now from Nathan Saunders in the number 81 car. That's the third of these Stock Catches. And look, it's still almost side by side between the leaders. Deegan's just had to tuck in behind Tom Bell, who tries to cover the line into the Vale for the final time then. There's Nathan Saunders in third position, but it's the checkered flag for Mark Armstrong for the second time this weekend. He wins in the Clio 182 series, but Stock Catch is going to be won again by Tom Bell. Lee Deegan goes over the line in second position, overtakes Bell as they go over the line, and third place goes the way of Nathan Saunders. The second best of the Clios in the end was Matt Fincham, with Martin Ward dropping back on that final lap. Here's a great battle amongst the three Peugeot 106s we have on the grid. Steve Noble, Jonathan Hobbs and Andrew Thorpe are out there, and coming towards there is the 23 car of Jonathan Hobbs, the 40-year-old from Brighton, a customer service team leader by occupation. It's the ex-Tom Molyneux car, an ex-Minicross racer as well, is Jonathan Hobbs, making his first forays in stock hatch racing. He's going to come out of Club Corner, and it's a little personal victory for him. He finishes 18th overall, but best of the 106s. So time for a look at the results then. Mark Armstrong it was that took the overall victory, but it was Bell and Deegan that finished second and third, and first and second among the stock hatches, half a second between them, with Nathan Saunders only another 7/10 of a second back in third position. Fourth amongst the stock hatches, Shane Deegan, then Philip Wright and Paul Jarvis completing the top six.
Tom Bell, winner of the stock hatch race there. Another great fight up front between all you three.
Yeah, very good, very hard battle. Pleased with the win, really. Obviously it's a bit more ballast now for Donington, which isn't going to help. There's another 20 I've got to put in now, but if I can stay clean at Donington, try and get some good results, and we'll see where we are in the championship then. But yeah, good. And it's another good run of championship points for you, and it's looking good towards the end of the season. Yeah, very much. Yeah, obviously I got a win yesterday and fastest lap, so another point, and obviously a win today. I don't know obviously about fastest lap yet, but yeah, it's good. It's my lowest place so far is a 5th, so at Snetterton when I was carrying a lot of weight. So we'll see how we do. It's good. Well done, Tom. Cheers.
We had 44 qualifiers for the Demon Tweaks Yokohama Low Cost Championship yesterday. There are 39 survivors for today's race. Sadly, one of them is not Sian Stafford Atkinson. She's had a catalogue of engine problems, and so she's going to have to watch this race from the sidelines. She was 6th in the championship coming into this weekend. Yesterday we had a win for Lee Bankhurst from Richard Jenkins and Alistair Garrett, the 3 championship contenders, all right up there. But Steve Wells is a man who has to start this race from the very back of the grid. The man from the Isle of Wight has an awful lot of work to do in his number 7 car. But it's Bankhurst that's made the best of the starts. Then it looks like Richard Bradley has slotted into 2nd place then, and possibly David Boucher 3rd, as the field heads through Abbey for the first time. Still a very, very busy field of these cars then that head down towards Village. This is round 10 of the championship here at Silverstone for the Demon Tweaks Yokohama Low Cost Championship. Really, it's between Alistair Garrett and Richard Jenkins. And Lee Bankhurst as well coming into contention now. Not such a good weekend for Danny Andrew, who is 3rd in the championship coming into this weekend. Engine problems yesterday, and I'm afraid he's failed to start this race as well. So the field heading through the link and onto the hanger straight for the first time. Steve Wells has already made up quite a few places, but he's still got more than 30 cars to try and fight his way past if he's going to get up to the front of the race. He's only got 13 minutes plus 1 lap to do it. Down at Stoke Corner, Alistair Garrett goes through on the inside of Lee Bankhurst to take the lead away. Well, Alistair Garrett, I should say, didn't get the very best of the starts, but he's forced his way through. He's used the toe down the hanger straight to get back up into the lead, but not for very long, because Bankhurst is now back up ahead. Garrett has lost a bit of ground there as they turn down towards the Vale. He's gone back down to 4th position. Garrett, who had 4 wins and another 3 podium finishes coming into this weekend, he added another 3rd place yesterday. That's the number 61 car of Paul Bryant, the driver from Taunton. But it's Bankhurst that's leading Bradley in 2nd place. Bradley, who was 6th yesterday, running in the 2nd group of cars, and there's been a coming together down there as well, and that includes, I think, the number 92 car of David Marshall. As we watch number 25 go through, that's John Coveney, as the leaders back down towards Village once more. And it's still a great pack of these cars. There's Richard Jenkins in number 8, the Norwich driver, who has now had 6 second place finishes this season without yet having a win. He'll be very keen to try and make amends for that. He's just ahead there of Alistair Garrett, the championship leader at the moment. There's Tim Penstone Smith, the car with the pink roll cage that you could see going through there as well. A tremendous championship for the clubman. It really is, as the name suggests, low-cost motorsport. David Boucher attacking for 2nd place here, down the inside of Richard Bradley. That's at Stowe Corner. And they're side by side there, and I think he might have done it, but Richard Jenkins is going to try and nip past both of them here as they head down the hill towards the Vale for the 2nd time then. It's Bankhurst that leads, and they're trying to go 3 or even 4 wide on the way into the corner. There's contact, and that's Tim Neate who spins round into the gravel. Richard Jenkins is involved too. I think Garrett may have got involved as well. Has he got a puncture maybe? Yes, I think he has. And Alistair Garrett is going to be out of this race, I think. The championship leader. Oh, in fact, is it a puncture or is it deranged front suspension and steering on that car? Maybe he got involved in this incident as well. But certainly it looks like it's going to be Tim Neat then that's going to be out of this race. Well, the marshals have arrived to give him a shove. Those rear wheels quite deeply in. They'll do well. Oh, they have done well to get him out of there. He's back on the road again. That's a good effort. Tim Neat started this race in 7th position, but he's right at the back now. Bryant and Boucher going wheel to wheel down towards Abbey. It's going to be Bryant on the inside line there. Meanwhile, there's more side-by-side action further back. That is the number 21 car going through. That's Ryan Munt from Newport, another of the Isle of Wight drivers, just ahead of number 10, Sean Brame from Ipswich. There's the 41 car having a bit of a moment. That's Keith Malpurse, and sideways as well goes number 90, real tank slapper on for Nigel Terry from Norwich. Uses the runoff area on the outside of the corner there at Club and is able to rejoin. Problems for number 44, and that is a car that is heading out of this race. It's Barry Stewart who's going to pull up onto the grass, I think, maybe on the way towards Farm Curve. It's Richard Bradley, Paul Bryant, and then David Boucher with Richard Jenkins at the back of this group. This is the fight for second place though, because they've let Lee Bankhurst get away now in the lead of this race. There you can see Lee halfway up the international pit straight already, and this is most un-low-cost like. Yellow flag zone though down there at Abbey. That is because of Barry Stewart's car off there. Oh, what a spin, and that is number 33 that goes around. It's Glenn Boyer from Bridgewater. Oh, and someone else getting involved as well. And more cars heading into the gravel. 97, I think that is Ted Shepherd. He's going to get going again, but that's Ernie Gushlow that's even more firmly embedded in the gravel than Tim Neat was a few moments ago. As Marshals, keen as mustard, back out again. Try and get Ernie going. Meanwhile, a change there. That's Richard Jenkins getting ahead of David Boucher, but running out wide, was he there on the link? Oh no, he's managed to keep that position. Ernie, fastest low-cost driver in the West, out of his car then. So through Stowe Corner, this fight for second position goes on. Ian Alley, you can see in the green car towards the back of that pack, heading down towards the Vale where there are yellow flags out, so some drivers ought to be taking heed of this a little bit more. There's a snatch vehicle in the gravel trap as well. Ooh, keep your eyes closed there as far as any overtaking might be concerned, because that should not be happening underneath yellow flags. Hopefully that will all shake itself out again. I'm not entirely sure that it has done quite as it should. Meanwhile, it is now, I think, Jenkins that's made his way to the front of the group. The 51 car there is Alistair Ecclesfield. He had a good run yesterday from the back of the field, as having a moment. Oh, another moment is the number 97 car, which is Ted Shepherd from Tadley. That's on the exit of Stowe Corner. Just to say about Alistair Ecclesfield, though, he started from the back and made his way up to 23rd yesterday, so that was a good effort from him. 21 car at the back of that group is Ryan Munt, just behind the number 71 car, which is Jason Gibbons from Bristol. This pack having been split up a little bit since the last lap. Meanwhile, it is still Bankhurst that has a very good lead in this race. Jenkins now second. It looks like Bryant now third. Bradley steadily going backwards, it seems to me. Maybe he's got a problem and is losing another place there, because David Boucher goes through on the inside. And David Boucher eventually sells that car, by the way. His wife gets a new kitchen, he was telling me earlier on, as Ian Alley gets very sideways indeed. The ex-motorcycle racer and the ex-Alex Van Ehrenheim car gets it pointing back in the right direction again somehow, but is on the runoff area there at the outside of Stowe. Oh dear, more cars finding the gravel at the Vale. 34 is Trevor Faunch. It's a corner that some of these drivers seem to find quite demanding. Lee Bankhurst is really well in control of this race. As the others have battled behind, he's been able to just stretch his legs. He's had a perfect race, really. Lee won at Mallory Park in the first round of the season. He's had a couple of podium finishes since then at Pembrey, but otherwise it's not been a happy season. Had two phases to start at Castle Coombe. He'd qualified on pole position, but then unable to race, having stalled on the start line and got collected by one of the back markers. And here's Boucher. Behind him is Sean Brame in car number 10. They're both now behind Jason Gibbons in that purple car as well. Through Club Corner onto the international pit straight, you can see that the last lap board is now out as well. So 1.85 miles separates these drivers from the end of the race. Gibbons it is then, at the front of this little group. Where's he going to finish overall? Bradley, I'm afraid to say, seems to be dropping back down the order still. As we go on board here, this is Wells trying to make up some more ground. Where is he now? Well, he's not quite in the top 10 yet, but it's been an excellent drive this from Steve Wells from the back of the grid. And Mark Roberts is going pretty well too in the number 28 car. He's up inside the top 15 as Lee Bankhurst makes his way past that number 90 car, which is Nigel Terry, and down towards Stowe Corner for the final time. More back markers to be dealt with as he makes his way down towards the Vale, but he's got a comfortable lead, more than 5 seconds in hand over his rivals as he turns into the final left-hander. Then it's the double right-hander of Club Corner. Meanwhile, it looks like it is Richard Jenkins in second and Paul Bryant in third in the background there, but out of the corner comes the Horncastle man, Lee Bankhurst, to take his second win of the weekend. He does the double at Silverstone. There's Steve Wells just ahead of the 69 car, which is Gregory Smith, the electrician, in his first season of racing in the ex-Spencer Line car. Meanwhile, Steve Wells is trying to make up another place as well. I think that is Dave Berry that he's looking to attack down into the final left-hander, but it's the 69 car that gets into the gravel. And that's Greg Smith. He spins out on virtually the final corner of the race. He was just outside the top 10. There's Mark Robert as well in number 28. He's going for his best ever finish here, but he's side by side with the 58 car of Rob Apsey as they come up and over the line, and it's Apsey that just gets the position. He finishes 13th, and Mark Robert it is that takes 14th, but the win goes the way of Lee Bankhurst in car number 14. Greg Smith did not quite get to the end of the race. The marshals couldn't get to him in time. And Sean Stafford Atkinson on the podium, showing appreciation to the drivers as they come in. Let's have a look at the results then, and it was a win for Lee Bankhurst by 7.14 seconds over the rest of the field. Richard Jenkins second, Paul Bryant third, David Boucher fourth. Good finishes for Jason Gibbons and Ryan Munt. By the way, Sean Brame finished fourth on the road, but was excluded after the race for his car being underweight.
Lee, your race winners today in the low-cost championship, and in terms of low-cost, it was a very big lead for yourself.
Yeah, I've never managed to lead virtually an entire race like that before. It was I had to pinch myself going around. It was quite remarkable. I mean, the first 2 laps I spent just staring in my mirrors, watching everybody see what they were doing, who's going to get the toe, where they're going to get past, and just trying to get away. And they must have started battling, and I pulled a bit of a gap and a bit more of a gap, and I was like, wait, we're home free at that point. Just had to just concentrate that I didn't make any mistakes. It was tricky.
But Silverstone's come together for you very well this weekend, because the first win of the year you had was at Mallory Park. Since then, it really hasn't worked, has it? Yeah,
no, we've had some bad luck throughout the year, and it had to run out sooner or later. The guys have put a lot of work in on the car. We were disappointed not to get pole yesterday, if I'm honest. I was kicking myself for that, but it was my own fault. With just a bit of traffic and quality, and couldn't pull it together. So we put it right in the end, and I'm very pleased.
Well, good luck for the rest of the season, Lee.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Despite his non-finish, Alistair Garrett retains the lead of the low-cost championship. More coming up after the break. In yesterday's AB Performance RGB Championship race, it was Matthew Higginson that took his 6th win of the season, while further back there was a good recovery drive from Austin Greenway to take the Class F victory. Race 2 of the weekend about to get underway, with Alistair Bolton and Paul Rogers on the front row of the grid as the race gets underway. Higginson there with the green front to that car in the middle of shot. He makes quite a good start, slots up to second position behind Alistair Bolton. Second row, by the way, was Higginson and Scott Mittell, who finishes runner-up yesterday. Watch 2 for the silver and orange spire of John Cutmore. He'll be flying up the order, started from the back of the grid after not taking part in yesterday's race. Well, towards the link they will go then for the first time. Again, it's a 13-minute plus 1 lap race from some of the quickest cars here this weekend at Silverstone. 1 litre bike engines powering all of these cars, whether front-engined or the rear-engined cars, which just tend to be that little bit quicker. Down towards Stowe for the first time, then it's Bolton leading, Higginson second, Scott Mattel in the MC52 is in third place, and up to fourth there goes Paul Rogers, getting 1 place back from Tony Gaunt in the Wolf. Then it's the yellow and black car in 6th position of David Whale. This field makes their way down towards the Vale for the first time. There's Austin Greenway in the white car just ahead of John Cutmore, who's already more than halfway up the field from the back of the grid, having missed the qualifying session and race yesterday, as I say. So Bolton it is, the former Stock Hatch racer and Class F champion last year and on multiple occasions as well. He leads this race from Matthew Higginson in second. There's that 25 car in third position. In the back of shot you can see John Cutmore just ahead of Colin Spicer, who leads the front engine class, and then Austin Greenway. Heading down towards us here is the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th positions down to Stowe Corner, and it's the number 25 car, the yellow and black Spire GT3, a new car for this season for David, who's a 57-year-old from Amersham, an international logistics manager by occupation. His 9th season in RGB, it's his 2nd spell in racing. Raced Mini 7 and Formula 1300 and Clubman's cars in the past did David Whale. That's the driver of the yellow and black car there. The 53 machine is that of Andy Hiley. It's a Kronos, and Andy Hiley, a former multiple kit car race winner and champion as well. And that Kronos, it seems to me, improving all the time and challenging for 6th position here. Of the spot, one of the Spires, or behind one of the Spires for the moment at least. He's going to try and go along the inside there, the village hairpin, and Hiley goes through. So one of the Spires there losing a position to the Kronos of the very rapid Andy Hiley. Just saw the cars going for a bit of a bump there as they made their way onto the link and back onto the Grand Prix circuit at the Hangar Straight. So it's Gaunt in the Wolf, car of his own design and construction, car number 42. Then it's the 53 car next in this group in 6th position now as they make their way into Stowe Corner, and then it's David Whale in the Spire. Spire cars, of course, built near Chesterfield, hence the name, taking their name from the twisted spire of the church in Chesterfield. Paul Nightingale's company making those, and a spin. Oh, and very lucky that Tony Gaunt wasn't collected there, as he had that moment between the first and second elements of Club Corner. Oh, and Colin Spicer spins around as well, spinning away the Class F lead and handing it to Austin Greenway. Oh, and another moment. 2 cars involved there, but the one that's on the grass is the number 72 car. That's Ian Kempson, the MK Stealth ZX10. There's the recovering Gaunt just ahead of Austin Greenway, the man from Worcestershire who leads the front-engined class championship, but only just coming into this weekend. Picked up another class win yesterday to put daylight between himself and Paul Rickers, as Kempson's being pushed by the marshals there, but in which direction? Where's he going to go? Pit lane's to his right, this racetrack's to his left, and he's going to rejoin the race in car number 72. Gap has come down between the 2 leaders now. It's barely a car length between Al Bolton and Matthew Higginson, the 30-year-old from Chorley. As here comes Colin Spicer on this recovery drive. He's just in behind the number 96 car there of Danny Bird in the MK Stealth. Also involved, you can see number 66, which is Edward Scotney in his Genesis RR. The drive from Daventry, very much on his home circuit this weekend. You can see a yellow flag there being shown down towards Abbey Corner as the leaders arrive at Stowe, and it's still Bolton from Higginson. Higginson in that Festive Lights entered Spire GT3, the car that took Tim Gray to a clean sweep of victories in last year's championship. Meanwhile, I can see it was pretty much side by side for third as well between Rogers and Mittel. So those two duking it out as the leaders turn their way back onto the international pit straight, and they're going to go into that yellow flag zone now. So that's one less overtaking opportunity for Matthew Higginson, and indeed for Scott Mittel in the background there, who's trying to find a way past Paul Rogers. The car just stopped on the grass there. That is the reason for the yellow flag. Bolton then a winner at Pembrey, beating Higginson, although Higginson was ahead on the road when the red flags came out. He'd not done enough though to unwind a 10-second jump start penalty, so Bolton was a bit surprised when I told him he'd won that race. And here's action amongst the front engine cars, but there's one of the rear engine machines. It's 33, which is Bob Mortimer in the BDN S3, the car designed by the Baldwin family a few years ago now. 22 is Robert Grant, 28 is Rue Chappell. And they are in Silver Phoenix and Raw Striker respectively, two of the drivers in the front engine category, making their way through the link. This is the battle for the lead of Class F though, and it's Greenway that is ahead of Paul Rickers, and these two were virtually tied together in the championship coming into this weekend. 42 Paul Rickers, the 45-year-old stonemason from Chesterfield. This is an ex-Paul Rogers car. Paul raced it from 06 to 08. There's a challenge on for the lead down here at Stowe Corner. Higginson's coming through and takes the lead. There's a wide expanse of tarmac here at Silverstone, so there was not that much that Earl Bolton could do to defend that even. Making their way down to the fair now. Bolton's going to switch to the inside line. He's back through, is he? Yes, he is. Well done, Alistair Bolton back into the lead, but he's compromised his line through Club Corner, and Higginson can sweep back ahead once more. There's drama there for number 53, Andy Hiley. I said that Kronos was getting better all the time, but now it's out of the race. Well, Colin Spicer, after that early spin, recovering here, doing battle with the MK Stealth of Danny Bird, but they're just in front of the leaders who are about to go on to the final lap, so let's hope they can not interfere too much with this lead battle, which is now just under 2 miles away from seeing the checkered flag. Bolton still in the slipstream of Higginson there as they make their way towards Abbey. Colin Spicer keeping well out of the way. Oh, but there's contact! And Colin Spicer goes off! He's gone into the gravel. I've not seen from that angle whether he's hit anything, but Spicer's certainly out of the race. But the amazing thing there for me is that Alistair Bolton has managed to continue. There's number 8, which is Paul Rogers, in 3rd position. But yes, there you can see the red car of Bolton. There is some damage, the bodywork on the left-hand side of that car, but thank heavens that was not more serious. Number 7 going through the foreground there is James Walker and his STM Phoenix, but here comes the race leader. Well, that brush with Colin Spicer, who I think saw Higginson come through, but wasn't aware that Bolton was about to go past as well, and just swept across there. I think that incident has settled the race in favour of Higginson. The 30-year-old from Chorley in the festive light-centred car turns his way through the left-hander at the Vale, now into the right-hander at Club Corner. The checkered flag is made ready, and it's a 7th win of the season for Matthew Higginson out of 10 races this year in the AB Performance RGB Championship. Bolton is 2nd, and Paul Rogers comes home in 3rd position, with Scott Mittell 4th. Battles to be settled down the order here. This is the 46 car of Charlie Thomas. He's a lap down, but he's just ahead on track of David Whale, who's going to come through and take 6th position. John Cutmore in the meantime has been through to claim 5th position. Well, there's an important change towards the end in the front engine class as well. As you can see, in 8th position overall, Paul Rickers took the Class F victory by a slender margin over Austin Greenway. As far as the rear engine class is concerned, another win for Matthew Higginson, who finished 1 second ahead of Alistair Bolton, but more importantly stretches his lead now to almost 40 points in the championship.
Matt, you managed to find your way past Al Bolton somehow there. You got into the lead and then you managed to hold it to the flag.
Yeah, Alistair got a good start. He got a bad one in the first race, but yeah, he was quicker than I was expecting. It took me a while to get on his tail and his slipstream, and just managed to do it. Got past. Back markers then came into play, and it was to and fro for a while. But really pleased to win on this stage at the circuit. So many supporters and friends here as well.
And the Spire seems to be handling pretty well for you this year.
Spire's a brilliant car, totally reliable, built brilliantly, maintained, and the guys in the pits, brilliant job.
Still got a few races to go for this year, but the championship is getting a little bit closer for yourself.
Yeah, it's almost touching distance. The overall championship need to keep our eye on that one as well. So hopefully we can continue and get that one, get both.
Well done on a good race, Matt.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Historic racing action coming up next from the 750 Motor Club 750 Trophy Series. And on pole position, we've got Peter Chatton, who's done much of the winning this season in his HSC. Next to him, Trevor Slatter qualified well in his Centaur Mark 6 as the lights go out. And we're underway at Silverstone. And it's a good start there from the pole position man, which was Peter Chattin, but the car on the right hand side of shot, that is the supercharged Austin 7 of Christian Pedersen. Now he starts on the inside of the second row of the grid. It was almost level pegging for the lead there with Peter Chattin as they made their way through. That's the number 9 car of Thomas Emden that's making his way through at the back of the field. But it is Chattin that leads. The Stourbridge man who lives these days in Spain that has the lead. It's not been such a good start by Trevor Slatter, who's gone down several positions in his Centaur Mark 6 750 Formula car. That's the silver, orange and green car. He's made up one position again. He's there in 4th position. You can see his car standing out quite clearly in the background there as the cars make their way down towards Stowe Corner for the first time. But there's someone going slowly and possibly into retirement. I think that's the 47 car of Danny Reuter, who was in the lead of the race at Rockingham last time out, but I'm afraid his race here at Silverstone has not even gone half a lap. So it's Chattin that's leading then. In 2nd place it's Pedersen. In 3rd place it's Barry Pike, who started on the outside of the second row of the grid, the 46-year-old from Sheerness, the property manager and scout leader as well. Let's watch some of the Austin 7 cars about to head into the Vale. So Pike there in 3rd place. He's going to try and go 2nd position here as they run side by side along the International Pit Straight. It gives you a good perspective of just how wide this Silverstone International Circuit is. And I think that was the Ben Mile Gerald Mark 1 that was also involved as well. Cliff Ringrose making his way through in the white and red car, the Rapide. Car number 74 for the car number 3, I should say, for the 74-year-old retired service engineer. And there's Helen Gilfinnan in car number 62. She's out there in the Centaur Mark 16 that she's been sharing with her father John Gasking during the course of this year. Well, Christian Pedersen in 2nd place under a lot of pressure now from Barry Pike, who's out there in this JGS 3, the blue car, restored in 1999. It was raced successfully by Pete Birch for many seasons. It was bought by Barry for racing last season. Barry has done some endurance bike racing in the past. Is he going to get 2nd place away here at Stowe Corner? Yes, he is. So Christian Pedersen in that supercharged Austin 7, he goes back down to 3rd position. He might lose another place here because Ben Mile, who was a winner last time out at Rockingham, looks like he's going through as well, and he has done so. But it's Peter Chattin that still leads this race, and this is a car that's certainly done virtually all of the winning this season apart from last time out at Rockingham. Pike now is going to make it 3 abreast here with Ben Mile on the inside line as they turn their way into Stowe Corner. It's still Chattin ahead just, but Mile is going to go through on the inside. Barry Pike is trying to duke it out around the outside. It's great stuff, this. I think they all managed to keep on the circuit as well. It's Ben Mile that's now got his nose ahead, but I think Chattin's going to have the inside line for the left-hander at the Vale. But no, it's Mile that turns in ahead. Chattin now 2nd, and Barry Pike in 3rd position. Well, the speeds may be very much lower than the ones that we've seen already today, but the racing is fantastic, isn't it? It's Mile ahead then in that number 11 car, one of the old style 750 Formula cars with the 850cc Reliant engine in it. It's also the case with the car of Peter Chattin and that of Barry Pike as well. Pike there in number 67, the JGS3, as here are the Austin 7s that raced within their own class, and it's so fitting that we see such a good turnout of them this weekend here at Silverstone. It is the summer festival for the 750 Motor Club, where we celebrate all aspects of the club's activities, not just the racing but also Austin 7 activities as well, and sporting car trials too. We saw number 32 go through there. That's the 68-year-old from Salisbury, the retired deputy head teacher David Wetton in his blue Austin 7, a car built by Vince Leake on a 1933 chassis. That was in 1988, and it's been campaigned that car every year since, although not always by David. 21 car is that of Al Frayling Cork. You can see Mike Whitby's Austin 7 Mason Special involved as well. That's car number 26, just up ahead. The Austin 7s coming out in all shapes and sizes, really. Meanwhile, up front, the lead being extended here by Barry Pike, who's made his way into the lead of the race. Ben Mile had been shuffled back to 3rd position, but he got up to 2nd place now. He goes through on the inside of Peter Chattin, who's back down to 3rd position. Ben Mile was leading the race earlier on, but has dropped back down. Now he's got some work to do to reel in Barry Pike. Barry had his first race in cars at Pembrey only in June, so not too far ago. He's still... Oh, he's had a spin! I was just about to say he's still going well here at Silverstone, but he'll be kicking himself inside the cockpit of that car. He was still in the lead of the race, but I think maybe the pressure from Ben Mile told there, and Barry Pike has to rejoin, and he's lost a lot of ground now as they go on to the last lap. He's in third position as the leader Ben Mile is about to lap the number 62 car of Helen Gilfillan, and also up there as well I think is the first of the Austin 7s as well, which is Mike Inglis. There's Austin 7 Ulster Black Sheep. There's Thomas Emden again, car number 9, the super accessory sportsman. Here's Mile though, the old 750 Formula cars that do make up the front end of this grid these days, racing within Class C of the championship. Here are the Austin 7s heading down the international pit straight. They look rather dwarfed here, don't they, by the surroundings, but they'll be really enjoying this different challenge of racing on the Silverstone International Circuit. Many of these competitors will have raced on the 1.6 mile national circuit on many occasions, so this will be some welcome variety for them. Well, here comes Ben Mile now into the left-hander for the final time. Now the right-hander at Club Corner. He's pulled out a lead here over Peter Chattin. Onto the international pit straight he goes. This time the checkered flag is going to be ready, and out it goes. He takes the victory. Ben Mile it is that wins by 3 seconds from Peter Chattin in second position, and Barry Pike does come through in third place. Confirmation of those results then, and the fastest lap as well for Ben Mile, a 1 minute 29.09. Trevor Slatter was 4th, Pedersen 5th, and Cliff Ringrose 6th. The best of the Class A cars, the best of the Austin 7s therefore, was Mike Inglis in 7th place overall. Greg Gunthustin was next up.
Ben, you take another victory here at Silverstone, just like you did at Rockingham, but you had a bit of pressure as well from the two guys behind.
Yeah, I did. It's getting really competitive now. Those guys are really quick. I've just started getting up towards the front, and they're certainly hot on my heels all the time. It's really difficult, but really good fun race today.
You did have to work for it because you came from pretty much row 4, I think.
I did, yeah. I had a good first lap. I got up into first. I thought the job was done, and then I had both of them pass me after that, so it was a really good race.
Well, there's plenty more racing to come at Silverstone after these commercials.
James Brakell from the 750 Motor Club Bike Sports Championship. You're the man who kind of oversees this. What is the bike sports all about?
Well, bike sports is about sports racing cars, racing basically. We've got all different types, bike engine powered. We've got 3 to 4 classes. Yeah, it's a pretty competitive championship actually, so it's pretty good.
And they're very quick pieces of machinery as well.
Oh yeah, they've got all the downforce and the wings and big sticky tyres as well. So yeah, they're something else.
Now your season this year, it hasn't been bad at all. You finished in second, I think, in all Class B races. You've still got to push for that overall win though.
Yeah, I'm still yet to get an overall win, but I'm doing all right on points. Trying to defend my title from last year, which is proving to be pretty tricky. There's some really fast boys here this year, so just try and do my best.
Well, let's see how you get on today. Good luck.
Brilliant, thank you.
First race of the day for the Spire Sports Cars Bike Sports Championship has Rob Weldon and John Paul Ivy on the front of the grid for an 18-minute plus 1 lap race. It gets underway now then, and it's a good start by John Paul Ivy from the outside of the front row of the grid, but there's contact further back, and it's Richard Stables in the 95 car that's come off worst of all, and I think everyone has just about missed him for any further contact, but it was a concertina effect, I think, that spun Richard Stables around. The hotelier from York is stationary on the track. It is Ivy though that leads as their cars go over that bump that's very noticeable in these sports cars. Through on the inside at the link goes Rob Weldon to take the lead away from Ivy. That looks like problems is that for James Brakell there in the number 25 car as they made their way through the link that time. But Richard Stables clambering out of his car. It's going no further. There's some damage to the rear of it, which he's inspecting now. The race has been stopped. We will have to get a restart. It's going to be a 15 minutes plus 1 lap race distance for the restart. We're going to have to do it though without Richard Stables and without James Brakelow. I think was also involved in that schmozzle off the start line. 5-second board goes up then. We're all set for a slightly reduced race distance then. Lights out, away we go. Can John-Paul Ivy make the best start again this time? He's got away well. Is he going to get into the lead of Rob Weldon this time as they sweep into Abbey? Yes, he is. Another great start there by John-Paul Ivy. In the Radical PR6 is ahead of the Radical SR3 as they head down towards Village for the first time. It's going to be the bigger SR3 that drives around the outside there. Fantastic move from Rob Weldon, and I think he's made that move stick. Yes, he has, as they go over that little undulation once more and head into the link. Adrian Reynard there in third, and is that Tim Gray up to 4th position? If so, that's a great start because he started on the outside of row 5. Tim Gray, who's won races this season in the Spire. As we look at the number 81 car towards the back, that's Gordon Mellis in one of the new Radical SR1s. Leaders into the Vale then. It's Weldon leading, John-Paul Ivy second. In third place it is Adrian Reynard in the inverter. In 4th it's Tim Gray, so he has made up good ground there. 6 places made up off the start. Admittedly helped because of the lack of Richard Stables and James Brakelow on the grid for the restart. There's the Adrian Reynard car, a class structure based primarily on engine capacity but also on driving position as well, just adding a little bit of further complication. Is that Aaron Bailey there that was taking a rather strange line? I think he's got it all sorted out now. Those we watch the number 88 car, which is Richard Wise in the Spire GT3. Tim Gray climbing all over the back of Adrian Reynard now. He's having a look down the inside as they go into the left-hander at the Vale. It's a Class C car for Tim Gray. It's a 1 litre engine in that car. Adrian Reynard has 1.3 litres in the Reynard inverter. A bit more powerful, but Tim Gray, a very talented driver, can do great things. Oh, and what great things! He's sweeping alongside Adrian Reynard there, and he's through at Farm Curve. Well, how did he do that? Fantastic move by Tim Gray to get 3rd place away from the very experienced race car designer, Adrian Reynard. Of course, no mean racer in his own right in the past, Adrian Reynard. He's down to 4th position then. It's Rob Weldon leading. It's John-Paul Ivy second, and John-Paul Ivy's had 4 straight wins in Class B of the Championship coming into this meeting. Those were at Snetterton and Rockingham. He's the 4th man in the Championship at the moment, which is looking a little bit disjointed now because the overall Championship leader coming into this weekend, which is James Brakelow, having a non-start here, so that's going to drop him back down. Drivers can drop their 2 worst scores at the end of the season. Brakelow might well need to do that. As we watch Reynard there in 4th position, desperately trying to stick to the coattails of Tim Gray, who just takes that different line into the first corner, just running wide, using a little bit of the curb. That's perfectly allowed. Rob Weldon out really developing that car this weekend, is the development driver for the Radical Sports Car Company. As Wise goes through there. And here's Tim Gray all over the back of number 39 John-Paul Ivy, while the first 3 drivers on track are in 3 different classes. They've come out of the link, now heading down the Hanger Straight towards Stowe. And you can see on this straight, John-Paul Ivy just able to get away a little bit from Tim Gray by only 2 or 3 car lengths. But I think we'll find that Gray's a bit quicker through the twisty stuff. And it's twisty stuff ahead now because they're down towards the Vale, left and then double right at Club Corner, and the gap's back down to less than a car length. And which way's Gray going to go here? He's going to go up the inside of John-Paul Ivy, and the 2 of them are side by side now as they come onto the pit straight. John-Paul Ivy runs wide, but he's got more power here, and he gets back ahead of Tim Gray now. Gray goes to the outside, using his special line again. Has to tuck back in behind John-Paul Ivy, or does he though? We'll see if he's made that move stick in just a moment. It was where he pulled off a great move on Adrian Reynard a short time ago. That's the number 20 car. That's Danny Coker, just ahead of Richard Wise. Coker, one of the Class A drivers, and it's Aaron Bailey just ahead of both of them. And they are battling for, I think, 8th, 9th and 10th positions at the minute. Bailey just trying to make up a bit more ground again. After an early moment for him. So Coker in that number 20 car. It's one of the Radical SR3 RS's. Big, powerful machine. Well, here is Rob Weldon on his final lap. He's about to lap that Danny Coker machine as they turn their way through Stowe Corner now. Now down towards the Vale. And Rob Weldon has pulled out a big lead on his rivals here. Only just making their way through Stowe Corner now. Weldon then, a one-off appearance really in the 750 Motor Club Spire Sports Car Bike Sports Championship race. It's round 7 and Rob Weldon takes the win. He takes maximum points within Class A today. Who's going to be second? It is Tim Gray. It was a great move that meant that he got second away from John Paul Ivy. Look how he celebrates up against the pit wall there. Third place for John Paul Ivy as well, as we look now at the results. And we can see that it was a win for Rob Weldon by 10.32 seconds over Tim Gray. Another 5 seconds behind John Paul Ivy in third. Adrian Reynard just falling off the pace a little bit towards the end. He was fourth, ahead of Tim Porter and Aaron Bailey.
Rob, well done on the first victory in the bike sports race. Nice to have you out to play with the championship. How does it all go for you?
Yeah, it was a great race, to be honest. We were here shaking the car down, doing a bit of setup work with it, and the team have done a great job with it, so really pleased. And obviously we got an average start. Haven't done one for 10 years. A bit of room for improvement there. Got back past JP at turn 3, and then got my head down to try and get a bit of a gap, and from there on it was just controlling it really, taking my time through the traffic, and it ended up perfect. So.
I imagine, like most people, the Silverstone International Circuit is pretty new to you.
Yeah, first time I drove it was in qualifying this morning. So obviously I've driven most of it before, but the new link part, never done that before. It's definitely something a little bit different. Nice to drive a new configuration, but yeah, no, it's quite a good circuit.
Well, let's see if you can make it to Lap 2 later on today.
Definitely the plan. We'll give it a go.
Cheers, Rob. Tim, the Spire continues to go well in the hands of yourself, and a good second place here today at Silverstone.
Yeah, really good. Qualifying, not exactly to plan. It was wet. We not really got the wet setup fully sorted yet. But, it made it interesting for the race. 2 good restarts. Unfortunately, we had 1 red flag. Hopefully they're okay. Second restart went like the first one, really. I think it was up to 4th. Just sort of, I knew I had to get as far up as I could early on. Once I did that, me and Adrian Reynard had a great race. I think he might have got tripped up with some back markers. I took a lunge down the inside and got past some, and I think he might have got caught up behind them. So that gave me a little bit of a gap. I could then try and chase after JP. Managed to catch him up. Again, I think he might have got caught up by traffic, which let me get on the back of him, and then great little race through Vale, and I could just pull away then after that. But yeah, Spire is absolutely fantastic car. It's the best car I've ever driven, and it's the kind of car you just cannot wait to get back in again. You just can't wait for the next race meet or the next test. You just want to get in it and go. So yeah, absolute congratulations to them and thank you to them, and can't wait for race 2.
The first Spire Sports Cars Bike Sports race early on today was won by Rob Weldon in the Radical SR3, ahead of Tim Gray in the Spire GT3 and John Paul Ivy in his Radical PR6, with all 3 of them also taking class wins. For this second race, it's Weldon on pole position, ahead of John Paul Ivy, there the front row, Tim Porter and James Brakel on row 2, Aaron Bailey and Richard Stables on the 3rd row of the grid. Red lights go on. And out they go. Good start further back from Adrian Reynard, number 29 in the Golf livery. He's slotted his car up the inside from row 5 of the grid, and he's up to second as they turn their way into Abbey for the first time. Great start there by Adrian Reynard, but an even better one, if you like, from Rob Weldon. He didn't make good starts earlier on today. We had 2 starts, a restart we needed for the earlier bike sports race. Didn't get away well in either of those, but he's done so here and leads the way. But Adrian Reynard from 9th to 2nd by the first corner. Wonderful getaway from him. I'm going to see a thinkful complement of cars very nearly back out there. We've not got Ian Cumming, we've not got Shane Porter, but good to see James Brakel and Richard Stables, both of them absentees earlier on after damage and a start line schmozzle on the first start. The cars making their way down towards Stowe Corner for the first time. It's Weldon that's leading. In second place is Adrian Reynard. In third place John Paul Ivy, and up from 7th to 4th has gone Tim Gray in the Spire GT3. As we look at a couple more Spires there of Richard Wise, number 88, and John Cutmore, number 3. And of course, it's Spire that sponsor this Bike Sports Championship this year. There's one of them, Tim Gray, in 4th position, last year's RGB champion, of course. He won all of the races in that championship last year. Has an outing on one occasion at Anglesey in the bike sports as well, took a win there too. Good to see Brakel back out. We saw a brief glimpse of him there in car number 25. He was the championship lead coming into this weekend, but he's had to concede the lead now to Tim Gray because of his non-participation earlier on. Tim Gray adding a 6th class win from 7 races this season. He's won every race that he's finished as far as Class C is concerned. The class structure determined not only by engine capacity but also by driving position as well, whether the car's got a centralised driving position or a more traditional offset. There's the offset driving position for Adrian Reynard, but you can see the car behind him, the white and blue car number 39 of John Paul Ivy, that has got a centralised driving position. And here comes Tim Gray as the back end just stepped out there on John Paul Ivy's car. That's given Tim Gray the run on him. Is he going to be able to stay with him up the international pit straight? No, he's not, because the radical PR6 of John Paul Ivy, that bit more powerful, that bit quicker in a straight line, and so Tim Gray just has to settle back in behind him again. Gray excellent through the corners though, and that's where he'll make up his time. So it's Weldon leading still, then Reynard second as they go for that quite pronounced yump as they go back onto the Grand Prix circuit, onto the Hangar Straight, which on this configuration actually is even longer than on the Grand Prix track. They just join it that little bit earlier. Towards Stowe Corner then, it's Reynard second, John Paul Ivy third, and Tim Gray in 4th. Had a great fight, these 3, in the early laps of the first race, and it looks like they're repeating it here. Out of Stowe, down towards the Vale they go. John Paul Ivy positioning his car on the inside line. Is he going to go through ahead of Adrian Reynard? Yes, he is. Good move that by John Paul Ivy, but he runs quite wide through the second element of the corner, and Reynard can come straight back at him and get P2 back away. So that was a very short-lived second position for John Paul Ivy there. Reynard's got it back now. They turn their way into Abbey, the first corner of a new lap. Tim Gray in close attendance as well in the Spire. Reynard, of course, the renowned race car designer, everything from Formula Ford 1600s upwards. Well, there's still a good number of Reynard 89 FFs going very well indeed in club racing. Coming from his pen. There you can see how big Rob Weldon's lead is already. The development driver for Radical putting some more miles on that car here this weekend on the fabulous 1.85 mile Silverstone International Circuit. Meanwhile, it's the battle for second that we're watching, which is still Reynard, Ivy and Tim Gray. John Paul Ivy has been the form man of late, but he's run wide there, and that's given Gray the run on him as they head down towards the Vale. Gray on the outside line though, they go wheel to wheel through the left-hander. Gray has the inside line for Club, and he's done it, he's made it work, he's gone up to 3rd position. And all of that because John Paul Ivy, who's won 4 Class B races on the bounce coming into this weekend, made a mistake up at Stowe Corner. Here comes Weldon then, car number 7, out on his own. He's making this look very easy indeed. Charles Harvey Kelly in car number 58 coming towards the Kent-based driver, a regular at Lytton Hill, and they're going through his number 9, Sean Mellors, the East Grinstead man in his Radical SR3. John Paul Ivy trying to get 3rd place back away from Tim Gray at Stowe Corner, and he's done it. There's not much that Gray could do there. lacking, relatively speaking, in power. And Gray down the straight, just able to ease clear, but Gray coming back at him now. He goes to the outside line. It'll give him the inside line for Club Corner. No, he goes to the outside again. Now to the inside once more for the second element of Club Corner, and he goes through to take third place away from John Paul Ivy. Well, that's very good driving from Tim Gray. Number 26 comes towards us. That's Brent Hill, shortly to be lapped by the race leader Rob Weldon. Also in there is one of the new Radical SR1s for number 81 Gordon Mellis. But suddenly Weldon makes very short work of both of them. Onto the hanger straight he goes now. Brent Hill, number 26 from Litney in Gloucestershire, actually lying second place behind Lewis Plato in the Class A Championship. That's due to some consistent results. Meanwhile, the battle for second, third and fourth coming back towards us. Where's John Paul Ivy? Oh, there he is. Briefly, I couldn't see him. He was hiding behind Adrian Reynard's car, and I don't think Adrian saw him, in fact, because through on the inside at Stowe Corner has gone John Paul Ivy. Oliver Cox from Nottingham, car number 57, is about to be lapped by the race leader. Cox in the Radical SR4, one of the older cars now from the Peterborough manufacturer that's enjoyed so much success in the last 10 years or so. I think now more than 1,000 Radicals have been built in all. Absolutely phenomenal number. Charles Harvey Kelly doing battle there with the number 9 car of Sean Mellors. He's just outside the top 6. Having a good fight here. Aaron Bailey involved with Richard Stables there as they run down towards the Vale. Turning their way now through the right-hander at Club Corner. Good to see Stables back there again. He's got ahead of Bailey there. Stables ruled out of the first race following damage in a start line incident. Been a regular supporter of bike sports for some years. As a spinner there is Brent Hill. His arm straight in the air to let following drivers know that he was having a moment. Probably quite well aware of that. Now what he needs to do is find a gap in the traffic to try and rejoin. He thought there was one there. Now he's found one, and Brent Hill, who's towards the back of the field, is able to rejoin in his SR3. Well, this is a good little fight now. You've got Charles Harvey Kelly, you've got the 38 car of Gary Patterson from Abingdon, and you've got number 9, which is Sean Mellors, also there. So a 3-car fight here, just outside the top 6. Still a little bit of time left in this race for this battle to shake out. Mellors at the head of the group for the moment. It's Radicals that really do dominate the bike sports grid these days. We do have the inverter out there of Adrian Reynard, also the Spires, of course. We don't have the speeds of Ian coming on the grid for this one, but he was out in the earlier race. So Mellors, number 9, just ahead of Harvey Kelly at the moment. And right behind them as well is that 38 car, which is Gary Patterson. Making their way down towards the link. You can see the slippery surface flag is out there in the background, held by the marshals. So there could have been some fluid spilt onto the track, maybe some oil or some fuel. Could also be used for light debris as well, maybe a piece of bodywork or something like that. Here comes this battle up towards Stowe Corner then. Charles Harvey Kelly it is in the yellow and black car as Mellors runs wide but maintains his position on the way down from Stowe to the Vale. No change in the order there, as that's Richard Wise, number 88, about to be lapped by the race leader. And Wise is there in, I think, 9th position at the moment. And here's a spin, and that's number 33, which is Richard Hardy in his Radical SR3. Another of the Abingdon base drivers. Gets the car pointing back in the right direction again, which I'm pleased to see. Oh, and another moment! And that's Gary Patterson in the sister car. Almost exactly the same time. He has a little spin as well and rejoins. Final lap then for the race leader, car number 7, Rob Weldon, making his way down towards the link for the final time. He's already nearly halfway around this final lap. He's dominated proceedings as we now have 2 retirements up there. That's Charlie Meisen, car number 11, that's joined Brent Hill there. Earlier on in the race, we lost Adrian Reynard and also Danny Coker as well. As here's this fight still going on for second and third position right to the end as the checkered flag for the second time today is taken by Rob Weldon in round 8 of the Spire Sports Cars Bike Sports Championship, and just it's going to be second place for John Paul Ivy. 3 tenths of a second the gap between Ivy and Tim Gray, who took third in the Class C win yet again. But Rob Weldon's victory margin was very nearly 8 seconds. He completed the race at an average of more than 100 miles an hour. He got the fastest lap too. 105.16 is 102.21 miles per hour.
Rob, race victory in race number 2 as well as race number 1, and not the hardest of days for you, but still nice to pick up the wins.
Oh yeah, it's been a great day for us. As I said, the 750 Motor Club paddock's a great place to be, really friendly atmosphere, and the racing's good. You know, for once I didn't mess the start up, which made my life a lot easier. Went and tried to chase some lap times for a bit until there's a bit of oil got spread around the circuit, but then we just controlled the gap and brought it back. So yeah, absolutely ideal, good day.
You may not have had to battle with the guys around you, but there's always traffic to deal with, and that can sometimes be a bigger problem.
Oh yeah, the traffic is, you're always being cautious because there's such a varying level here, and it's so you do have to be very cautious. You can lose 5 seconds one lap on very easily just by following another car and being overly cautious, which you know is a fine line. But no, as I said, we brought it back in one bit, and that's the most important.
It is indeed. Well done, Rob, on 2 well-deserved victories here today at Silverstone.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Tim Gray heads John Paul Ivy by 3 points as the Bike Sports Championship heads to Donington Park for the penultimate meeting of the 750 Motor Club season.